Let's talk about immigration. Who would have ever thought that the one issue that pretty much defines the United States of America would be a divisive issue that we can't just go in a room and figure it out? Every single American citizen walking around living their lives right now, except for the Native Americans, are a product of immigration passed down from generation to generation to generation. We love the story about someone coming to United States of America for an opportunity for a better life, and then they become the icons that we celebrate. Or their descendants become the icons that we celebrate. I mean, I can talk about the Trump family. Every single billionaire, just not even going to get into naming names, they're all products of immigration. So when did things change? That's what the big question is. When did immigration become a fear-based, divisive argument that we can't sit down and have a civil conversation to figure it out? Now, we can all agree that there is something deeply wrong with our immigration process. It takes too long for a man, woman, transgender to come to this country, apply to become a citizen, and become a citizen. We can all agree on that, no matter what country they're coming from. It is a right in our country for someone to be able to go through the process and become a citizen. Now, I'm saying it's a right. I'm not saying that every single person should get that, because we have to have a fair system where if you're in line, you're going to be seen to have that opportunity. Not everybody can get into the process. That's the crutch of the problem here. Then we have the situation where we have different types of immigrants. We have the African immigrants that are absolutely thriving in this country, in sports, in retail, in business owners, just thriving. We can talk about the Indian Americans. We can talk about the Asians that are just thriving in this country because they were given an opportunity. What we're focused on right now, why we can't get it right, is what do we do about our southern border for all the countries that have been destroyed by U.S. policies, and now they're looking to come to this country. For the sake of this conversation, let's go ahead and break them down into asylum seekers. Someone who is escaping oppression from their government or crime bosses, or they're being killed or beaten because of their sexuality, or if they're transgender. Should they have a shot to become citizens to be safe? These are the questions we should be asking to break down the issue, instead of just sitting there saying they don't belong here. They shouldn't have the opportunity. They skipped the line. See, but we don't break them out into asylum seekers and people simply coming here for a better life. So when we get into the issue now of the surge since Biden became president, we need to ask ourselves, is this Joe Biden's fault? Did he go out to Central America? Did he go out to all these countries that people are coming from and say, hey, come here, you can become citizens? That's not what happened. But we like to break it down into categories of conservative, liberal, and what we think their intentions are, instead of trying to fix the actual problem. And then we also need to talk about the extremes in the conversation. Nobody in government is calling for open borders. The mere thought of that is simply chaotic. It's something that would be an impossibility for the safety and the resources in our country. Now, when someone tells you that, there's no need to get an uproar and talk about imperialism and all this stuff. We're talking about practicality. So if we're not going to completely open the borders and completely close the borders, what do we do? Was the wall the right idea? Just wasting money, put up a wall that people can dig under, go around, or go through the water that destroys wildlife? Or is the answer something practical where we work on our security of our border and we take care of the people who are coming here? We let them have a fair say in front of a judge. And then we decide whether we send them back or go through the process of making them citizens. Or if they're asylum seekers, letting them in our country so they can be safe from harm. See, these are the questions we need to ask ourselves in this conversation instead of just coming in with a solution without even looking into the problem. This is a difficult situation. This isn't something easy where we just yell something and have a solution. It's an all hands on deck strategy. So thinking that you elected a Republican in office that's going to keep our borders safe, that's not enough. We need our representatives to do the work. That's what it all comes down to. Same thing with everything else. They need to do the work. Nobody likes to see children in cages. Nobody likes to see them stuffed in a facility during a pandemic, just spreading that disease around. But if we have that many and nowhere to put them, this is the situation. If their countries are destroyed by hurricanes, by violence, by governments collapsing, they're desperate. They're going to keep coming here. Now, if we're thinking forward, we're thinking about what can we do to help those countries so those people stay there. I'm not talking about going in and shoveling democracy down their throats, but we also need to think about the sanctions that we have in this country on those countries. We need to think about what we're doing as a country to make life more difficult for them that causes them to uproot their family, their lineage, their lives, the only lives they've ever known, to come here to the unknown just for a chance to become citizens. I'm not going to tell you where to be in the conversation. I'm just simply asking you to think. This is a big issue that needs big solutions from all sides, left, right, and everything in between. It's a humanitarian crisis, but I'm not going to sit there and say the crisis is because of so-and-so. The things we're doing is to put off facing the problem. Having asylum seekers and people coming here just turning them back to stay in Mexico to wait without having a process of filing their paperwork for asylum or to become a citizen, that's not a solution. That's just a placeholder. So, of course, when we stop doing that, they're all just going to flood our borders. But the question is, what are we going to do about it? That's the question. We're just going to run around in our partisan circles and pretend that nothing's going on. And when Obama cracks down on immigration, say nothing because he's the first black president. But the minute Trump comes in, oh, we can't have that. We're better than this. We're a better country than this. Yeah, we are a better country than this, but we need to figure something out. We need to figure something out quick. Those surges are going to keep getting bigger and bigger and bigger as long as those countries keep destabilizing. And it's going to be a problem that we can't handle no matter what we do very soon. We also need to figure out what we're doing with the people living in this country under darkness that are working all these jobs, not paying taxes because they can't legally be here. What are we going to do about them? What are we going to do about the dreamers? It's a bigger conversation than just send them back. Something to think about. My name is Cal King. Thank you for attending my Jeep Chat.